Civil unrest is spreading and becoming worse in the United States, most recently in Minnesota. There's an important lesson in preparation to learn from the escalation and increased division within the citizens in making foolish choices of picking political parties instead of striving to improve the United States and the foundation it was built on. The division is being pushed to a dangerous conclusion that went from innocent difference of opinion to threats and violence for having a difference of opinion. Pointing fingers at each other and blaming the opposing political parties for voting, which has been a protected practice, now has been weaponized. Who's driving this boat? How did we go from watching entertainment on TV and spending time with each other to this chaotic political 24/7 fed to us through social media, news, aka propaganda TV, or TV shows, movies, actors, and late night shows, and even conversations with each other. And families and relationships are being split by this wedge of politics. Never has there been a time in recent history that political strain has been so high and it's only growing. Have you asked yourself, like I have, where is this all heading? Some believe civil war, as many have called for it already. To those who have, they have absolutely no idea the misery, pain, and bloodshed that would bring. The enemies of the United States would love us to become more divided and fight amongst ourselves. We're easier to defeat that way. Where am I going with all this? What preparations was I talking about? I'll answer that in a moment, but first I want to break down the two recent ICE shootings with the individuals that are no longer with us. I'm not going to say if the shootings were factually justified or not, but I will share my opinion based on my own review of all the available videos and nothing more. Too often in this day and age, people see one video and judge to convict without any information. No trial needed, just an opinion and ready to convict. That's not what this country was founded on, and it's not a justice system that I want to be a part in. Though our current system is flawed, it's better than trial by public opinion. Let's break this down one part at a time, starting with the shootings. Before we start, I want to state that the loss of life is unfortunate and should never be a desired outcome. There's a distinct line between protests that are guarded by our First Amendment rights. Then there's rioting and violating the laws of the land. The first shooting involves Renee Good. In summary, after reviewing all the angles I could find, the ICE agent placed himself in a bad location in relation to Miss Good's vehicle. But that doesn't give the option for using a vehicle as a weapon. In case you're unaware, Miss Good struck the agent with her vehicle around the time that she was shot. This is a fact, and it's left out of a lot of reporting. Most departmental policies do state that the officer will attempt to move out of the way in lieu of using deadly force, but the agent had 1.7 seconds to react. Another thing I read comments on prior to engaging with Miss Good verbally, the agent made sure his gun hand was empty, showing that he planned to kill Miss Good. This is absurd, to say the least. Officers are trained to always keep their gun hand empty, especially when contacting the public. From all that I observed, it appears to be a justified shoot. Keep in mind, this is merely an opinion, and it has a process it will be going through to review firsthand information and determine its justification. The second shooting involving Alex Pretti. These are just straight facts. The man was in Minnesota as an antagonizer. Reports have also been received that Pretti's wife left him due to quote-unquote radical political views. On January 13th, he kicked a law enforcement's vehicle and they resisted what appeared to be an arrest, but they ended up letting him go. Though if I'm going to fight the police, involving a gun is not the most intelligent move. On the day of Pretti's shooting, he was conducting himself in the same manner. One thing I would like to stress is the critiques of the officers at the scene. If you've never tried to restrain a resisting person, it's not as easy as you think. And when you have several officers involved, you can't tell whose hands or whose legs or whose. And if you're ever hit, all you know is you got hit. You don't really know who hit you. You just want the hitting to stop. Too many people think that they know how to do other professions, and my suggestion is become an officer and educate yourself. Based on the videos, classify this shooting in the gray area. I couldn't tell you clearly if it was justified or not. And again, there will be a process, and if the agents did wrong, they'll be charged, and if not, they'll be cleared. At some angles, it appears that Pretti did reach for his firearm, but at other angles, there's too much going on to see anything clearly. There is one angle that shows the agent going into the struggle empty-handed and leaving the struggle with what appears to be a gun that allegedly came from Pretti. There are many more events we can tear down, but these are shining examples of what's going on. An event, a disruption in society, increased hatred and anger. It doesn't really matter what the event is that occurred. The protesting will follow. In this case, the U.S. citizens are protesting the government agency, ICE, for doing the job they're assigned to do and has been doing for years with no protests. The question is, do you feel like I do when it comes to this all feeling a little bit too organized? It feels staged, like they're tearing apart this country in the exact way that agencies do in dismantling other countries. Now to the lesson on how to prepare for the escalation that seems to be accelerating. One of the principles used by undercover officers to avoid detection is the same as someone that's in a hot zone. Gray man. Blend in by neutral dress, posture, and speech. Remove the signals before you remove the noise. If someone can identify your beliefs from 20 feet away, you're not gray. Dress like a local average. You want to look like every third person at Target, not memorable. Don't argue with strangers, ever. Gray man means no emotional investment in public opinion battles. Control your face. This matters more than people realize. Your facial expression is often the first giveaway. Limit social media cross-pollination. Gray man includes digital footprint discipline. Blend your vehicle. Vehicles are rolling billboards. Boring cars get ignored. Ignored cars don't get remembered. Be predictable, not interesting. Stick to your normal routines. Outliers attract attention, good and bad. Avoid crowd momentum. When emotions rise, logic drops. Gray man doesn't mean curious. It means not present when things flip. Don't be the expert in the room. People love correcting others until someone pushes back. Being right is less important than being unnoticed. Exit early, exit quietly. The most gray move. Timing beats toughness every time. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is still to be written, but based on the roadmap, it isn't leading us into a good place. It's important that we stop the fighting and look for ways to repair the damage that's been done. Who's the real culprit to the problems we're having? That is what we should be trying to identify, treating each other like brothers and sisters of this nation like we should, and let our political views not run so emotionally rampant. Just the other day, I responded to a call of a noise disturbance, and I learned that a mother was hearing her son, who's in an apartment down the way, tearing up his apartment and yelling at his TV about these protests in Minnesota. There's a heavy illness expanding, all stemming from politics. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. Until next time, stay alert, safe, and prepared, and thank you for hanging out with me in the hideout, and God bless.